My sister made a toast at my parents' anniversary dinner to thank them for having an only child. My mom raised her glass. Dad gave me a smile, so I got up and said something that made everyone speechless. I wasn't going to make a scene when I went there. I went there to finally make peace, if anything, to show that I was the bigger person for good. You'd expect the setting to be from a couple who once fought over whether their dog should have a middle name. Beautiful, buffed up, a little too beige. What kind of diner does everyone speak quietly, and you don't really eat the food? You just look at it from a safe distance. No matter how early I was, I still felt like I was late. Of course, my sister was already there. With flawless hair and makeup, she commanded the room with the kind of grace that's usually only seen in politicians or group leaders. She kissed me on the cheek and spoke in that breathy, arrogant way she only does on holidays and at public events. She told him, "You made it," as if she had just seen an old coworker at the bus stop. I smiled back like a paper cut was on fire. My mother gave me a nice hug. My dad smiled and nodded. The kind of nod you give your doctor while you're shopping. Of course, I was sitting at the farthest end of the table. The new boyfriend of my cousin was across from me and introduced himself twice, but still got my name wrong. But I wasn't upset. I didn't look at my watch, roll my eyes, or make a fuss. I told myself there was a reason I was here. That maybe, just maybe, this one move would make things different, better. At the very least, be polite. Since I brought something important, do something kind, something I had been planning behind the scenes for months. I still had the envelope in my bag. The corners were already bent from being touched too many times. It was more than just money. It was a sign, a phrase that means I still want this to work despite everything. Dinner began. There was a lot of small talk going on. My sister talked about a meeting where she had given a talk. My parents looked at her as if she were reading the Constitution off the top of their heads. I told my mom about my new freelance job, and she just blinked and said, "That's nice. Does that help you in any way?" 2 questions had been asked and answered by the time the soup came. Neither of them is about me. The toast came next. My sister stood there with a glass in her hand and a smile on her face. There are 2 people who raised me and made me the woman I am today. Thank you all for being here to honor them. There was a cheer. Like a well-trained dog, I clapped too, and I want to thank them especially for raising the best only child anyone could ask for, she said, turning to our parents with that practiced kindness. Yes, there I was, one beat. I hoped that someone would laugh. Wow, my mom might be shocked and say, "Oh my God, don't forget your sister." My dad might clear his throat in a strange way. Anything. No, though, my mom raised her glass. Dad smiled like he was getting ready for a Christmas card picture. Not even a look at me. I could have gone up in flames, and all that would have happened is someone would have asked the waiter to bring me more water. That's when I could no longer hear anything. Not exciting or dramatic, just a dull quiet. It was like I finally got a joke that everyone else had been laughing at for years. I got up before I was aware that I was moving. It was quiet as I walked to the middle of the room after taking the envelope out of my bag. No clinking of glasses. Not an introduction. It's just my voice, steady and even. I told them I was going to give something to the people who raised me. But I believe there was a mix-up. There was a wave of uncertainty. People looked around. The look on my sister's face changed. There was a small split in my mom's lips, as if she wanted to say something but couldn't quite find the right tone to make it sound sweet. I looked over at the table in the back where my aunt and uncle were sitting. They looked like they were the only family invited because they were nice. They looked shocked. My aunt put her hand on her chest. It looked like my uncle wasn't sure if he should stand up or fall through the floor. I gave them the envelope right away. No showy stuff, not a speech. This is an easy message for you. After that, I sat down again. No one spoke for a long time. There were no forks. No chairs moved. The sound was like a bomb that wasn't quite done going off. My sister blinked like she wanted to clear her mind. When my mom is trying to tell herself that she didn't just see something very upsetting, she tilts her head in that way. It was impossible to read my dad's face, but his jaw was locked. What about my aunt? He kept looking at the envelope as if it were time. I didn't say anything else. No one asked. The strange, stifling silence lasted for the rest of dinner. It felt like the moment had sucked all the air out of the room, and no one knew how to breathe again. I did breathe, though. I took a deep breath for the first time all night. Because I had had enough of waiting. Not to prove anything. Not to get permission. Not to be seen. After all, they had raised an only child. That's why I gave what I had to someone who saw me. People say you should believe someone when they show you who they are. That quote used to make me think it was just something people put on Pinterest boards between pictures of simple living rooms and avocado toast. But Maya Angelou might have known something I didn't. For my folks' sake, I've known what a beautiful child was since I was old enough to tell them who they were. And even more importantly, I wasn't it. There were always signs. First, it was subtle. Like how my sister's macaroni art ended up on the fridge while mine was quietly used as a shopping list. Or how my parents cheered when she sang off-key in a school play, but didn't say anything when I won a writing contest in my region. It was a little prize that I brought home once. I still remember how my dad looked at it and then said, "You know, spelling bees aren't really sports." I asked for a bike when I turned 8, just in case. My sister got a pink one with ribbons, a helmet that matches, and training wheels. I was told for a long time that I should be okay with used things. The used one came from a kid next door. There was still mud on it. But I didn't give up. I thought that maybe if I was calmer, easier, and more helpful, they would give me some space. I watched the kids, cleaned the kitchen without being asked, and did well in school. Mostly straight A's. My mom said they were the bare necessities. There was cake when my sister got an AB+ in history. They forgot to book the restaurant they said they would when I finished from high school. My dad said that the fries are better at fast food places, so that's where we ate. When is my sister's graduation? They hired an empty hall. Talks, a video, and even party favors with her name on them were there. It looks like she's giving a TED Talk instead of getting her diploma. I didn't break, though. I told myself I didn't need everything. I wasn't that kind of person, that I was okay with putting my head down. I had no idea that what I was doing was making myself smaller. Every day, quietly, and with practice, my uncle and aunt were the first ones to see it. They never made a fuss about it. They didn't just jump in and say they were my saviors, but they were there in all the important little quiet ways. When my parents needed a break, they would watch me. The first time they picked me up, I think I was 5 years old. My mom gave me away like I was a Tupperware dish she was sick of seeing. She said she's picky about what she eats. Also, don't let her stay up too late. They didn't treat me like I was a bother. They gave me popcorn and let me pick the movies I wanted to see. When the story went on and scared me, my aunt grabbed my hand and said, "He's just pretending to be scary, sweetheart." Finally, someone talked about fear in a way that made sense to me. I cried when I spilled orange juice on their white rugs. At home, I got in trouble for less. My aunt brought me a towel and told me it was just a carpet. That's not enough for you. In college, I was sick and couldn't afford cold medicine. So, my uncle drove 2 hours with soup and cough drops for me. The image my dad sent was a thumbs up. No words, just a smiley face. My mom told me to try herbal tea. My aunt emailed me every day for a week when I got my first job and was worried I wouldn't do well. Not very important. You can do this. They're lucky to have you. Already proud of you. At the same time, my parents asked if it came with teeth. They came. When it's a party, an emergency, or anything else. When I left a bad relationship and had nowhere to go, they quickly cleared out the spare room. There was something my mom said I should have done to make it work. I told them first when I got my dream freelance job. It wasn't that I didn't want to tell my parents, but I already knew what they would say. It got old for me to shrink. I only tried to tell my mom about all of this once. I told her how painful it had been to grow up with someone who never seemed to have to try. She laughed and told him, "You've always been so quiet." "That's the matter," she then said. "Well, at least we didn't spoil you." She was right, too. They didn't, but neither did my aunt and uncle. They looked at me, listened to me, and let me be without expecting anything in return. And that was very different in this family. A few weeks before the anniversary dinner, I was having coffee at their kitchen table and realized I felt more at home there than in my childhood home. My uncle was making up a silly story about how he set off the smoke alarm while making pancakes. My aunt smiled and rolled her eyes at the same time. It was easy to be around them, like when you love someone without trying to fix them. I used to want to be theirs. It made me half laugh and half not laugh. "You are," my aunt said as she looked at me over her coffee. I could still feel that moment in my chest as I walked into the anniversary dinner. I had no plans to talk, not going to do anything. Yes, I did have the envelope in my bag. I thought it was still going to my parents, though. There was still a small part of me that hoped they would surprise me. But they erased me instead. Quite, in public. I finally believed what I knew to be true. You couldn't see me because I wasn't shining. They wouldn't look, so I couldn't be seen. I looked somewhere else. I finally found what I was looking for the whole time. The envelope hadn't been opened yet. My aunt sent me a text message the next morning, so I knew. There is only one question mark. No words. Don't use emojis. That little frown line that seemed to say it all somehow. There was an hour between calls. They heard the speaker. Oh, my aunt spoke before I could hear her breathe. We haven't opened it yet. I smiled even though no one could see me. Yes, you can. Uncle cleared his throat. Are you sure? We don't want to go too far. You're not. I sat back on my couch and looked up at the ceiling. You've never done that. They both opened it. I could hear the paper moving. After that, nothing. Not a gasp, not a word. It was just quiet, which made my chest feel better. I put $50,000 into an account that they both owned together. There's no catch. Not any strings attached. No aerial tricks allowed. It was a quiet way to thank them for all the little things they did for me that I never asked for. Aunt finally said in a whisper, "Not at all. No, no, no. No, sweetheart, this isn't right. Yes, it is. It was you who gave it to them, right?" I was. There's more quiet. Then something popped open. Not too loud. Not like when a dam breaks. More like a single piece of glass breaking after being pushed for years. The voice of my aunt was shaking. "We didn't do anything to deserve this. I told you not to. You were there. You cared about me. You saw me. That was enough." Uncle spoke next. He was quiet and respectful. "This doesn't make sense to you." I said, "I do. That's why I did it. I believed that was the end of it. A fresh start." Peace breaks in the middle of a single statement. Of course, that's not how my family works. Because my phone blew up after 5 hours. My mom was the first one to call. I didn't answer. The second one had a message on it. While I did the laundry, I put it on to play on speaker. "You got your point across. It wasn't funny, and this is some kind of trick. Please call me back." My sister called the third time. I didn't answer that question at all. The words then came. "Sister, was that real? Do you like the money? You were going to really give them that much? Why them? They didn't even raise you. You were being over the top. You made us look bad." I didn't answer. My main reason was that I was laughing too much. The kind of laugh you only let out when something really silly finally falls apart, because it's so silly. By that evening, my dad was involved. He doesn't text very often. He thinks that emojis and full words are both sexual and left-wing. But I guess this time there was a need to break the rules. "Dad, let's talk. In person, not like this." In dad language, that means, "I don't know how to spin this yet, but give me time." After that came what I call the regroup phase. My parents kept quiet about the story and tried to stop it from getting around. I heard from 2 friends I hadn't talked to in years. Cousin 1. "Hey, I think there was trouble at the dinner. Are you okay?" Second cousin 2. "What did you say to Aunt Lorna?" "Mom is going crazy." "Hi, Aunt Lorna." Of course. See, my parents didn't just sit around and complain. The family network was used like a political operation. I was the insecure one, the emotional daughter, and the attention seeker all of a sudden. Fuck. I didn't bite, though. I didn't say anything. I didn't send the group chat my own story of what happened. I didn't say anything. Just let them twist in quiet. Then there was the surprise visit. 2 days after the dinner, it was mid-afternoon. They were there when I opened the door. My family, my mom wearing a pressed shirt and pearl earrings. My dad stood there as if he were going to ask me to go outside and look at his grill. I didn't say anything. I just leaned against the door. My mom told us we could come in. Not at all. She opened her eyes. I felt like I had state secrets hidden in the couch pillows when my dad looked past me into the living room. He asked, "You don't want to talk this over? You looked like you didn't want to talk when you raised your glasses to your only child." My mom let out a sharp breath. "It was a joke." No one laughed. "That's not what we meant." "Didn't you?" I put my arms together. "You had the whole night. You didn't say anything." He stood up straight. "You caught us off guard." "That's nice of the people who smiled and cut me out to say." Dad talked again. $500,000. "It's not a joke. That's what you were going to give us." I said I was. "You gave it to them instead?" I didn't answer. "We both knew that," my mom said in a stern voice. "That money could have helped us retire early. Pay off the car. The hospital bills for your dad." I told them. "I know. That's why I kept it." He didn't blink as he looked at me. "What did change?" I smiled. "Not nicely. You raised a glass to your only child." She turned her head away. My dad clenched his teeth. "Then this is vengeance?" I said no. "This is being recognized. I thank the people who deserved it. You're not taking care of your family. I'm finally going to pick one." After that, they left. It wasn't a slam, but a quiet click that felt heavier than it should have. I thought that might be the end of it. Then my sister joined the attack, though. He put something online that was unclear and meant to hurt people's feelings. A labeled picture of my parents' wedding. Some people only come when they want to be praised. True family shows up in a quiet way. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. My aunt called me the next day. She said in an embarrassed tone, "We've been getting messages." From your mom. Also your sister, I thought. They want to make us feel bad. Saying that we lied to you. You didn't. I understand. This makes me angry. We did not want to be in the middle. I told you. You're not. You're still where you were before. Next to me. She kept quiet for a while. Then we're not going to cash it. The cash. We don't need it. I understand. We can't agree with it. I told you you could. Because I need you to. I can't change things in the past to make them fair. I can do this, though. I understand how to say thank you. Right way? He coughed. I'm going to cry because of you. Okay, it seemed like I was the only one going through this. I had a glass of wine on my porch that night and looked at the stars. I didn't feel like I had won. I didn't feel proud. It felt like something inside me was put back together. The damage wasn't fixed. I wasn't scared, though, because they would still be there after everything was over. My uncle and aunt, the ones who didn't ask for proof, who never had to put on a show. Someone who knew who I was even though I wasn't sure yet. They knew now how much they meant to me. Finally, I believed the quiet would be the end of it. You know that moment after a storm when everything seems to be still and you're sure it's over? That was me. In the quiet, they thought that maybe, just maybe, they'd give up. They might take the loss hard and hide away in their own cold little world. That's not how people like them work, though. There was never peace in the quiet. It was set up. The crazy thing began with a call from my cousin Theo. We had not talked in a long time. He was the type of family member who wouldn't remember holidays unless they were sent to him on Facebook. I didn't pick up the phone when I saw his name come up. He left a message. Please be aware that I have something to tell you. It sounds like your mom has been talking. About you. About the cash. You might want to look at your socials. It's been a while since I used Facebook, but I logged in. Yes, there was. My mom wrote a long, confusing post on her page that was just unclear enough to let her off the hook. But all of the standard signs. There were religious quotes, passive-aggressive Bible verses, and just the right amount of weaponized shame to make it look like she was the one who was hurt. He didn't call me by name. She didn't have to, though. When people who say they love their child lead them wrong, it breaks their heart. Family isn't about money. It's about being loyal. Things are going badly for us because we tried our best. Evil can smile sometimes. After that, more and more comments were made. Friends from church, nearby old people. People you know who give you too much time and not enough knowledge. We are praying for your family. You don't deserve this. You did a great job with your girls. And my best, people forget who helped them when they couldn't do anything. They'll feel bad about it one day. I almost laughed. Almost. But my hands were shaking too much. The real blow then came. My aunt called me and was scared. She got a message from someone else. There is no subject line. Not much more than pictures of old texts I sent years ago. They were ones I sent when I was angry. Having problems with them. Airflow. Having a mess. Like, I wish they'd stop hovering. And sometimes I just want space. Things that I never meant to hurt you. The same as noise. The kind you let out when you're broken, tired, and honest. Who sent it? My sister. Of course, she didn't sign it. It wasn't hard to figure out because she left enough clues. My aunt told me, I know you didn't mean it. But seeing it hurt. That's what I thought. She told me the truth, not to make me feel bad, but because she was honest. Because she always told the truth, even when it was hard. Not like the other ones. I drove over. I was hungry and sat at their kitchen table with a box of cookies in my hands. I said, I'm sorry for everything I said. For anything that made you think about what I mean to you. My aunt didn't say anything. She took my hand right away. Uncle poured coffee. Not a big deal. Don't give a big hug. Just being there. Love only. The kind that doesn't need to be protected. That's when I knew. It was time to give up on things that never worked. To stop fixing holes in a ship that was never meant to be at sea. To stop calling each other family just because we had the same blood. That's why I wrote a letter. Not a mad one. Not a temper tantrum. Just the facts. There is a list of limits. A line in the sand that is quiet. Do not get in touch with me again. Do not try to talk to each other through other family members. Don't make up lies, and don't expect things to get better. Peace be with you. I'm done with the part you gave me, though. It was sent. Printed and sent by mail, so no one could say, I didn't see it. The next week, my mom called from a different number. I didn't answer. She left a message. It began with tears. It ended badly. You've made this family bad. Your dad is very sad about what you did. Are you happy with how you look? Like I thought, They didn't stop. They used threats to get my aunt and uncle to give back the money. Printed and sent letters. They were said to be being influenced. They said I was mentally ill. When things got really bad, my uncle hired a lawyer to protect them. I was willing to pay. He said no. He said, we don't take from family. We'll take gifts, though. I spent the holidays with them that winter. We are the only three. Don't stress. There was no show. We cooked together. We played cards. We laughed about nothing while watching old movies in our pajamas. I got a scarf from my aunt that she made herself. Even though my uncle burned the hot chocolate a bit, we still drank it. I had the best Christmas ever. My aunt looked at me and asked, "Do you feel bad about it now?" It was easy for me. Not at all. I didn't just leave my family. That's why I walked toward one. There was already someone who knew me there, so I didn't wait to be seen. In the end, the calls stopped. The noise stopped. They moved on to different stories. New people to play for. I didn't. I stayed here. Love isn't a deal in this small, quiet life, and kindness doesn't have to be one. I still think about that dinner now and then. About how my sister looked when I gave the envelope to someone else. About the frozen look on my mom's face. My dad's jaw was clenched. It used to scare me. Not at all. It makes me think of the night I stopped feeling bad about being alive. That night, I finally said, "Enough," and meant it. I sometimes question whether I made the right choice. That part where I said I would give the money to my uncle and aunt. I can still feel that in my bones. But the time itself, the news release, making it clear, leaving them to sit in the silence they made. I still sometimes think, was that too far? Or maybe not far enough. I didn't do it to make anyone look bad. It was the only thing that would make me stop lying. Still, there are nights when I lie awake and think, should I have waited? Given it to them in private? Would that have made the blow less painful? It might have made it easy for them to write the story again. What do you think? Did I do the right thing? Was what I did right? Or was there a better way to leave? Share your thoughts below. What would you have done if you were me? Follow us on YouTube to get more stories like this one about families, making decisions, and standing your ground.